Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the William K. Wesley Show, starring your host, Chris McCall Sr. It's been a while since I've been on here, but I'd like to welcome you all back. And for those that don't know, I always start off with a verse from my Holy Bible to go on the right path to show you how the Bible is always connected to life in these days. So, for those that say that the Bible is outdated and needs to be upgraded, they did wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because the Bible still adheres to life that we go through today to show you how the connections manifest themselves through everyday life in 2023. And as I always I come starting off with the NIV Bible for Men. It's called the Manual, but Manual, the New International Version. So my wife got me that Bible, and I love the Bible to tell you the truth. I love this Bible a lot because it explains a lot in the sense of how men would look at it. And where I'm going to come in today, I'm going to start in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only with what is helpful for building others up according to their needs. It may benefit those who listen. And then connect that coming from the King James Version. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which will is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. Deep. Then out of the Message version, watch the way you talk. Let nothing foul or dirty come out of your mouth. Say only what helps. Each word a gift. Now, today's subject is going to be about building. Not buildings, but building. As you heard in the first one in the NIV version, it said, it's helpful for building others up according to their needs. So it took me some time as I got older to learn that always keeping it real ain't keeping it real. You might ask what that means. It means that everything that can be said doesn't mean that it needs to be said. Sometimes you gotta know when to hold them. That's like like the song said. When you playing, you gotta know when to hold them. You can't always just let off, firing off. Cause you know what always happens when you just firing off. Like if I just fire off into a crowd, I see like these young guys do. They see they ops. Speaking in their terms, they see they ops, and they whip out these automatic guns and not aiming right, and they just start spraying. You know what happens with all that just spraying? You do more damage. You hit the wrong people. Yeah, you might hit your ops in the in the term of it, but in the process, you done killed three other adults and probably about 5 kids. injured another 15. So what good is that if you're going after one person? The damages outweigh all the which you work you were trying to put in. All the work is bad. Meanwhile, I'm saying that by going by, but I'm just speaking to how these younger folks would go by and say they were going for their ops, their enemy. But that's the same as if I was to go in a place and I'm going to do damage to one person and I just start going off and shooting recklessly and aiming at a whole bunch of people. There's no good by that. And our mouths is used as an automatic weapon sometimes. Sometimes people say things that does nothing to help the situation. It just fires it up, makes it worse. You know what I'm saying? So, and this is strictly imperative to us as blacks in our community because a lot of the times this is why we cannot build because we're too busy talking. We're too busy, quote, keeping it real or saying things that does not help the situation. And see, I have a aide that comes by the house. Me and her were having a conversation, and she was saying if she was to start off a business, it has to be starting off with someone she really trusts. And hush, Charlie, hush, silly dog. But in the process, we were talking, and she was saying she wants to start off a business. If she start off a business, it had to be with someone she really trusts. And in my head, it instantly shot through like that's nonsense. That's really truly nonsense. Because most of the time, when you start businesses off with people that you surely can trust, those people that surely trust each other sometimes slack off. Don't hold up to the end of the bargain because they're in it with someone that they can truly trust. It's like it's nothing wrong with getting into business with friends or family if you know those people are about their business and will hold up their end of the bargain. But if you're with someone that's always going to look for to take advantage of a situation that with you, because I can trust you. Oh, this time I don't come with my end of the work. Say my end of we're in the business of getting contracts for construction. You're more of the guy that lays out the plans, but I'm more of the guy that goes get the contracts. But for some odd reason, I haven't fulfilled my part of the agreement of going to get contracts. I've been slacking. But I'm feeling like I could be able to slack because I trust you that you're going to go out here and do a great enough job that, oh, he's going to do such a great of a job with these plans and everything, and they're going to build so great that the business is going to get spread about more word of mouth. So I'm not going to have to work as hard to go get more contracts. That's bull. Because if on the other end, I'm waiting on you to bring more contracts in, and you haven't brought another contract in a while, but I haven't finished all the back contracts that we've had, and there's no work to do. Now that falls on your end, but you're expecting me to pick up the slack. So that's why I was like, nah, that doesn't sound like because most of the most successful businesses start off with people that had no trust in each other. They barely even knew each other. Bill Gates became a billionaire with a guy he met in college that was a college friend. Over history, you look through some of these guys, they meet up in bars and they see, they decided to let's make it happen. No trust at all. Not even knowing each other, but they took a leap of faith. And next thing you know, they're billionaires or they're millionaires. However, I said, through time, they got generational wealth for their families because they were able to take these leaps and bounds and work together. But not necessarily in the black community can we do this all the time. Because most time in the black community, we're too busy worrying about other things that does not help the situation. Talking about things that does not help the situation. Like you said, watch your mouth. Watch what comes out of your mouth. That proceeds to mean like gossip, things like that. Or just speaking a foul of the person that you're working with. Or speaking such things like, I can't be able to trust you. Eh. Only person you should really, only thing, one you should really be trusting is God. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, you shouldn't be out here trusting me, but you should trust that they will hold up their end of the bargain if we get into business together and we're trying to build something. But most blacks can't even put enough trust in their own kind to build with their own kind. And then we wonder why other races are leaving us behind. They're building in our neighborhoods. They have stores in our neighborhood. They have restaurants in our neighborhoods. We're too busy as black people competing with each other. Do you actually think Pepsi is competing with Coke right about now? No. They're too busy competing with their own self. They're competing with their own profits. Because it's not like Pepsi's going to take Coke out of business or Coke vice versa is going to take Pepsi out of business. These companies are both too large to be talking about taking the other one out of competition. But what they are trying to do is beat last year's profits. But see, us as blacks, we can't get out of our own way to notice that that's what the rest of the world is doing. They're competing against last year's profits while we're competing against each other. We have black businesses all over this country, but they are not willing to come together and build. The first company that I had that came to my aid that was helping me at home as a nurse aide and all of that was a black owned company. But the company was struggling. But when she was telling me that it was 4 or 5 other companies that she knew of that were black owned, some doing a little bit better, some doing a little worse. But she was not willing to do business with those companies. And I asked her why, because she said, well, we're all trying to flourish and things like that. And I started to ask, well, since most of y'all are barely making it, why don't y'all combine, come together, and take on the business, and pick up the contracts that one can't handle by itself? Because she couldn't even handle my contract. She was in here owning the business, but at the same time, she's working the business. Because she doesn't have the workers to take care of my case. But she took my case on anyway and couldn't give me sufficient services that I needed. I needed someone here 5 days a week. She could supply me with 3 because those are the 3 that she could be able to do it. The other 2 she couldn't. And she worked out for me to get more hours from the state, but who's getting them hours? And I bet you on the back end she was claiming them, but I didn't know much more about the business to know that's something that she could do. But what she did was hinder other companies too, because it made it hard for us to trust other companies that want to come in. Because now we feel, oh, you saying you can, but then in all true reality, you can't handle the load of taking me on as a contract because you don't have enough workers. But see, that's the thing is, we're so quick, but what she was so quick to do was talk down on other clientele. I mean, other companies that say, well, they couldn't handle the clientele anyway, and they were bringing to customers, and they were doing these things, and I would never keep take on contracts that I couldn't handle. But then she ended up turning around and being the same thing that she was preaching against. Is like I said, I was one of them cases that she picked up that she couldn't handle. But rather than swallow her pride about the situation and try to pass it on to one of her fellow black companies, which she look as a competitor, but which could be an ally and help her get their foot in the door more to build up more clientele, she left me with a bad taste in my mouth, to where I went almost 6 months without an aide, which is ridiculous. Yes, it was almost 6 months. So it's things like that us as blacks we have to realize that we can work together and build, but we're too busy running our mouths and burning bridges with others that we can't build. Everyone is building in our communities besides us, and we should be tired of it. But apparently, we're not, because we're having more black-owned businesses than ever, but more individual fighting than ever. More individuals that are getting businesses and the business is dying out than ever. No one is willing to work together. Because, like, if I own a clothing store, a black owned clothing store, I would want to partner up with a store that sells shoes or something, or another store that they probably don't sell the same type of clothes as me. But when black people come in, they're looking for this. Well, my partner he has this type of clothes. We send business to the other, and we help each other grow. This would be my sister business or my brother business. You know what I'm saying? We can't work like that. I sit and watch the Arabs build in our community at gas stations. They work at gas stations and the stores. These are family members and friends that they have. They work in these stores and they combine and build. But you can't find that with our blacks in our own community. And it's sad. But we need to learn how to work together. And until that day, we're going to always see this us as bottom feeders. We're the catfish of the sea. We're the catfish of the fish community. Because we're always bottom feeding. We're never at the top. Yeah, we have a couple few that's up there that's been trying to make it. But those few are still by themselves. They're not reaching down and grabbing others and bringing them with them and building. Because we're too busy on in this time of me, my, me and mine. They're not worried about us. I always wondered, in today's time, would we be able to handle us having another Black Wall Street? I don't think we would, because everybody would be on this individual status of trying to be, I'm the biggest around here. I got the most stuff. I got a bigger house. I'm doing for me and mine, not I'm doing for us. So that's where this message is going today. It's about building. As long as we are separate and individuals, that everybody has an individual plan for themselves, we're never going to be able to build as a community. And when the time comes, they're going to push us out of our communities. And we're going to have to scatter. So when that time comes, they'll be sitting there with the boo-boo face wondering why our black leaders didn't warn us, they didn't try to stop us, they didn't try to keep it from happening. No, we have to keep it from happening because we have to stick together. We have to build together and stop running our mouths against each other. So that's the lesson that I'm coming off with today. That's the lesson that God has put in my head to talk about. So until the next time, peace.